Alright, welcome back to Cake's Kitchen, episode 2. A lot of good feedback on the first video. I get it, the marker was dying. I know that the dry erase board marker was dying. I'll be better next time. I'll be better for all you guys. Today we're gonna walk around Kroger. It's pretty late at night, so hopefully we'll be unbothered. We can do what we need to do. We're gonna walk around and talk about what I look for in the grocery store. I think it all starts, in the kitchen, in the grocery store for living a healthy life. And the kind of things that I would look for, or what I shop for, when I'm trying to be healthy. So, obviously, when you walk into every grocery store ever, the first spot you're gonna walk into is the produce section. There's actually only one thing I get in the produce section, and that is avocados, right? So we saw in the last video, avocados are a big staple of the diet. You have an avocado a day, so we always go for the avocados. That's the first one. But other than avocados, don't really get anything else from the produce section. Sometimes sweet potatoes if I'm feeling it. But remember, frozen veggies are a big staple of the diet. Fresh produce will often go bad before you can use it, so I actually try to stay away from fresh produce other than the avocados. As far as I know, you can't buy frozen avocados. What you can do is you can freeze avocados though, and they freeze pretty well. Most produce doesn't, but avocados are one of them. So if you want, let's say your grocery store has a good deal going on, 2 for $3 is what Kroger's got right now in Bloomington. It's not a great deal, but every once in a while they'll have like 69 cents avocados. That's a really good deal. If that happens, you should stock up and freeze them. But right now we're gonna get about 5 and that'll last me through the week. All right, we're walking up to the cheese section at Kroger. This Kroger has a huge cheese section, it's really nice. This is something that we talked about in the previous video. Something that will bring your cooking game to the next level is always get blocks of cheese, like the whole blocks, full fat cheese. Shredded cheese, pre-shredded cheese, like Kraft bags of cheese is covered in potato starch and cornstarch. And it really dilutes the flavor of the cheese. The flavor can't be nearly as complex. When you are looking for a whole block cheese, it really depends what your personal preference is. There's so many different kinds of cheese. What I would recommend is just going around and smelling them. Oftentimes, you can smell right through the plastic wrap they have on it. But these will taste so much better than a cheese that you'll get pre-shredded in a bag and then just shred it yourself or whenever you're cooking your meal. Some stuff we're gonna pick up today that I really like is we're gonna get the New Woman. That's kind of like a jerk chicken flavored cheese, really good. And then one we get all the time is this smoked provolone. It smells so good, it can make anything taste so much better. But remember, so those lunches and dinners we eat every day, try and get blocks of cheese. If you don't have a shredder, I understand. They're like $4 or $5, not very expensive at all. Really will take your cooking to the next level. And it'll help kind of break that stereotype people have that eating healthy always has to taste bad. That you have to choke it down, you have to force it. You don't have to force it. So be a little bit smarter about your cooking. The one thing you can do is get whole blocks of cheese. All right. Now we're walking into the wine section, or the liquor section. Remember, wine's kind of a personal preference thing, but generally speaking, you do want to try and stick to lowest alcohol content and lowest sugar content as best you can. Pinot Noir will give you that lowest alcohol and sugar content. If you aren't a big Pinot Noir fan, it can be pretty bitter. Some other good ones are Merlots. Merlots are also really good dry red that you can have with your dinner. You still get those cancer-fighting compounds that are really beneficial in red wine. And then also Cabernet is very good. We drink Pinot Noir though. And then when you're looking at this, you can think, wow, this is intimidating. I don't even know what the heck I'm getting. We're still new to wine, also we're experimenting. I'm constantly learning new stuff about nutrition. Me and the Camel Woman are always learning new stuff about nutrition. So we're experimenting as well. But something that I would recommend that we've really been liking is the Kendall Jackson. Has a really good Pinot Noir that's not too expensive. And the Menage a Trois is a really good Pinot Noir that we've been trying as well. I don't see either one of them here right now.
I know the Menage. I just saw the Menage. It's down there. Do you see on the bottom?
Oh, but the Kendall Jackson there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Kendall Jackson, we've been trying. It's really good. I know some people talk to me, they didn't leave it in the comment section, some people talk to me, they're concerned about the price of wine. It's a lot of wine to be going through. You bring a glass a night. We're not getting the top shelf, $50 bottles of wine. This is 30, this is 30, 37. This is one of my Kroger cards. This is an $11 bottle of wine. So this will last about a week, probably 5 days, I'd say. And again, remember, when it's a glass, it's literally 5 ounces. You're drinking exactly 5 ounces. Anything more than that, you're just consuming too much alcohol. But those dry reds, the most important thing when you're consuming wine is dry reds you want to stay with. The whites are often way too sugary. If you like white, you still are going to get those cancer-fighting compounds. Just know that they are much higher in sugar.
Also, when the light hits your eyes right, they look like crystal blue. Like meth.
I'm leaving that in the video. Also, some people were asking, I said in the video, nuts. Mixed nuts are that fat we have with our dinner, salted or unsalted. So it looks like Kroger only offers the salted for the mixed nuts. Something that people don't often know is that the U.S. government and physicians around the United States tell people not to consume salt, and that it's bad for their blood pressure, kind of as like a blanket treatment. So in normal humans, in most people in the United States, your body downregulates or upregulates salt depending on what your body needs. So if you consume a large amount of sodium, it shouldn't affect your blood pressure in most regular healthy adults. However, there are 25% of the population that have a genetic defect that causes high amounts of sodium consumed to raise their blood pressure. But for the most part, for most people, consuming a lot of sodium won't affect them at all. The reason doctors tell everyone that is because it's easier to just tell everyone to not consume a lot of salt than it is to give everyone in the United States a genetics test and can figure out if you have the genetic deficiency or not. I personally am not concerned about eating salt. I think most people don't need to be concerned about eating salt. It might be something worth consulting your physician with, or even getting a test at one of those genetics sites like 23andMe. But I personally think that getting unsalted nuts or salted nuts won't make a huge difference. What's more important is that you are eating those mixed nuts that are really healthy fat. And also, right next to the nuts, actually conveniently enough, is our dark chocolate. So again, with dark chocolate, this is something we have. It's good for the heart. There are so many different types of dark chocolates you can get, and this again can be somewhere that's kind of overwhelming. We like the 70% sea salt. It's the organic dark chocolate from Kroger. I would say as long as it's 70%, you're good to go. There are some here, like Kroger offers this 54% cacao. And cacao is like the active ingredient in the dark chocolate that is cancer fighting and really good for your heart. Anything lower than 70, it gets too sweet. It starts to become more like milk chocolate than it is dark chocolate. So I would try and go 70 above if you can. But something like this, like they have 85% cacao, that gets really, really bitter. I bet if I look hard enough too, I bet I could find like a 90% cacao. These are 72, which is good. This is 55, I would avoid. 65, I would avoid. 70% and up. Another one that I really liked, I just had recently, but I don't think they keep in stock anymore. They had a cranberry one. So good. Recommend it so much. A lot of people are also asking the dark chocolate with lunch, with breakfast, whatever. I personally, me and the camerawoman, we have it with our lunch and dinner. But any time of the day is fine, as long as you're not overeating it. You're eating the same amounts. We have 2 like little pre-cut squares total. If you want to have that with your coffee in the morning, that's fine. A lot of people think that dark chocolate pairs really well with the cocoa-y scents in coffee, and I think it does. I think that makes sense. Whatever you want to do. But time of day doesn't matter. I think it matters more that you're just not overeating it and you're getting something with good percent cacao. This is one of my favorite parts of the store, your protein. A lot of people are really intimidated by this place as well and have a ton of questions about what kind of protein they should be getting. Again, like stated in the previous video, I would recommend anything that's 90% lean and above. Gosh, what does that mean? So if I get this container here of ground turkey breast, it says on the container 99% fat-free, or 99% lean. Or for example, if I grab this beef here, it says on the packaging 80% lean. This is 80%, it's too fatty. That's something I would avoid. You want to limit as many animal fats as you can. You want your fats to be coming from plant sources like nuts and avocados and things like that. So try and limit your animal fats, keep your plant fats high. So this 80% ground beef I would avoid, but right above it, they do offer a 90% lean, 10% fat ground beef. Okay. So the ground beef and the turkey we're gonna pick up today. We'll also ask you, some packaging doesn't say it on it. So, for example, this natural ground lamb doesn't say what its percent fat is. There's nowhere on the package. But we do know that this ground beef is 90, right? So then what we do is we flip it over to the back side. So they're the same serving size. They're both 4-ounce servings. The ground beef is 11 grams of fat in a 4-ounce serving. And the lamb is 23 grams of fat in a 4-ounce serving. So this is even anywhere close to 90% lean, right? If this is 90% lean, this must be much lower. So this would be another example of a meat that's too fatty. I would avoid that protein source. Those would be our protein sources we're going to pick up today. Right here in this aisle, there's this particular Kroger. It's like an organic section. I know most Krogers don't have it. But in most pasta sections, you can find bonza pasta. It's made from chickpeas. A lot of people really struggle with, when they're trying to eat healthy, is not eating too much pasta and eating so many carbs and pizza and stuff like that. If there's one craving killer I can recommend above all, it's bonza pasta. Not sponsored in any way, but I love their product so much. Tons of fiber, really good for you. Great for killing those pasta cravings you may have or carby cravings. For a while, was eating the edamame pasta. It just makes me so gassy. I can't. It really depends on how it affects you. I think this offers more nutritionally, the organic edamame pasta. But it makes me so gassy. You have to weigh the pros and cons of, are you going to sacrifice health for, and this is a greater ethical question, are you going to sacrifice, are you going to do things for your own personal health that will affect like your social life or will affect like how people perceive you? And this seems like an easy one to me. I'm not going to be farting 24/7 to save 4 grams of protein or whatever. So the bonza pasta, highly recommended, highly recommended. So this is Kroger's fish section. Fish is really complicated as well. People often aren't really sure what fish to get. I would say fish is such a lean animal. There is no real fish that's too fatty for you. I would say every animal or every species of fish they offer here to eat are all good for you macronutrient wise. But what you do need to be concerned of, or something just to think about with fish, is mercury. Some fish from certain oceans or certain parts of the world are really high in mercury, and if you eat them too often, you can get very sick. There have even been studies that show that some pregnant women who eat too much fish that are heavy in mercury can give birth to children with birth defects. Some fish that are usually generally safe in terms of not having too much mercury is Pacific cod. Pacific cod's a good animal. And if they have any, sockeye salmon. Wild caught is always better. Farm raised animals, usually one, don't taste as good. Two, usually have more mercury. Oddly enough, you'd think an animal wild in the ocean would, but they don't. The wild animals are usually healthier for you. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is that the Atlantic Ocean is actually dirtier than the Pacific Ocean. So Atlantic salmon has a much higher mercury count than sockeye salmon or Pacific salmon or Alaskan salmon. can't eat salmon, and I just had fish, so I'm not going to pick up any fish today. But it was something worth talking about. If you're going to eat a fish, try and make sure it's a fish from the Pacific. And the number one thing I will tell you to avoid with fish is don't eat shark. Shark is so incredibly high in mercury. If you eat it in a piece of sushi at a sushi place, that's fine. But don't be buying fillets of shark regularly. You will get sick if you eat way too much shark. Shark fin soup is getting really popular, and macronutrient wise it is good for you, but we got to remember that nutrition has so much more to do than just the protein, carbs, and fat. And the little things like mercury and vitamin A and vitamin D and all these other things will affect your life and will affect your health. Alright, for oatmeal, people are asking what type of oatmeal. It's just the most generic Kroger brand oatmeal they got. And luckily right here we have eggs, so let's talk about eggs. So people ask me if I was concerned about cholesterol. But eggs. Eggs are the same deal as salt. Your body upregulates and downregulates cholesterol as you need it. There should be no concern to eating eggs. Something to know about eggs that a lot of people don't know. You'll see things like cage-free. You'll see grain-fed. You'll see omega-3. Couple things to know. It has been illegal to keep chickens in a cage in the United States for 40 years now, for a long time. Every chicken in America is cage free. So when it says cage free on here, right, they all say cage free. Every chicken's cage free. It's just marketing gimmick. You'll also often see, and I don't see it on any of these. Don't see it on any of these eggs. A lot of times though, you'll see something like no hormones added. Same deal. For 40 years in America, it's been illegal to give chickens hormones. No chickens are getting hormones. They are genetically bred to get the best chicken possible, but no hormones. You're getting no steroids, no nothing like that. Here's two things that do matter. Pasture raised. Pasture raised means that the chicken was on a pasture. They're able to roam, run around, be healthy as a chicken is, as opposed to being in a big warehouse with 100 other chickens, or 1 million, or 1,000, or whatever. So pasture-raised chickens are typically the healthiest chickens. What also does matter, though, is omega-3 chickens. What that means is that the chicken was given a diet of flax seeds and chia seeds, so that its eggs would be naturally higher in omega-3s. I think for best tasting egg, you want to get pasture raised. That'll be the best tasting egg you can get. It's the healthiest chicken. Healthier chicken means better tasting chicken, or better tasting egg. I think those nutrients will protect your brain health though. The omega-3 eggs will be the best you can go. So kind of depends what you want for you. We get the omega-3 eggs because we want those brain supporting compounds. But I think pasture raised would also not be a poor decision. So the yogurt we get is Oikos 000 Greek yogurt. We like these little, like smaller ones. They're perfect for the smoothies we make at night. They're perfect for the smoothies at night. I think Oikos 000 is pretty much the best brand you can get for yogurt. A lot of other Greek yogurts are really high in sugar, right? That's why you'll see on most healthy eating Instagrams or YouTubes, get the plain, non-fat, no sugar added Greek yogurt. Come on, we all know that stuff tastes like, tastes terrible. No one wants to eat that. But these have no added sugar, no added fats, no artificial sweeteners in them. I think these are easily, no one comes even close to as good a Greek yogurt as you can get. It's the Oikos 000. Only downside, you can't get really big containers other than in vanilla, but we don't need them anyway. We don't eat that much yogurt. Alright, vegetables. This is one of my favorite spots because I just grab a bag. These are my veggies. Huge fan of frozen veggies. Again, talked about in the previous video. But this is already in like a one meal. I think this bag's open. It's in a one meal portioned out size, right? It's already portioned out for one meal, as opposed to something like this. this is confusing, right? This may be a better deal than the single serving bag, but now I gotta measure stuff out. I gotta figure out how much, whatever. I really think that keeping it simple, keeping the diet simple is more important. And these are just simple. I buy it, I throw it in my microwave. I don't have to measure anything, I don't have to prepare anything. It's done, it's over. And I think it's the best move. If you want, you can buy that giant bag of frozen blend of veggies that you like. Just know that you are gonna have to measure stuff. And that's just an added step that I don't want to do. And remember, it's huge. This will never go bad. One of the big things that made me move to frozen vegetables was I was buying fresh spinach and I just wouldn't finish at the time. It would go bad. And then I was stuck with all this, bad spinach I had to throw away. This stuff can be in my freezer until there's a nuclear fallout. It'll never go bad. It'll last forever, which is perfect for if you travel, if you're a college student, you eat over at a friend's place, you never have to worry about, oh, I gotta finish this spinach or it'll go bad, or I gotta finish my broccoli or whatever. Great. And then this is our last pickup of the day. Some frozen fruit. Love frozen fruit for the same reason that we love frozen veggies. Frozen fruit's different though. I do get the cheapest one available. I don't think it needs to be pre-portioned out because I'm not eating fruit as a whole meal. I always just get a handful anyway. So I'm gonna go for whatever is the cheapest. It looks like it says mango berry. Nope. Triple berry. This is just cheapest one, so we're going triple berry blend. Again, this is what we're going to use in our smoothies and in our breakfast food.
It's just nice to see everything.
Yeah. So that was our haul for today. That's all we need. I'm sure there was some stuff I missed. I'm sure we'll do one of these again in the future. Hopefully you learned something. If you felt like you learned something about your nutrition, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. It really does help. If there are any questions, feel free to leave a question in the comments below. I'm always willing to answer any questions. Next week, we're going to do another video next week, trying to do one video a week. Next week, we're going to be talking about how do you find out what supplements you need to take, what supplements are effective, and how to help you research on what supplements you should buy from what company. We're going to be doing that next week. So thanks again for watching, guys. Have a great week.